The last LNP Premier, of course, Campbell Newman, is with me now. Campbell, what did you make of that that clash as well? It was a bit odd, and the result tonight?
Well, Kieran, firstly, just dealing with that one, I was just flabbergasted to see the opposition leader come out and start speaking while the Premier was delivering her victory speech. I thought that was poor form, and had a lot of, I think, the journos watching here on the sideline scratching their heads. In terms of this result, look, it's time for the LNP to wake up and smell the coffee. This is not a surprise. You know, those of us who talked on late night TV on Sky have been talking about the prospect of this for some time. The polling throughout the 3 years showed an LNP primary vote bouncing around between 35 and 37. I happen to know that the track polling during this campaign had on those marginal seats that they were trying to get, at one stage the primary was down at 32. You know, they're not. It's not about COVID-19. Yes, that's obviously been very difficult for them, but that is just now the excuse they're going to sort of present to people, which is self-delusion. It is absolutely self-delusion. It's time to realise that they've got a problem, that they've had a problem for 3 years, and that it didn't just happen because of COVID-19. And I make this point, that 4 months ago the parliamentary team decided to go with this leader, and at the time they dismissed party polling as fake news or dodgy polling. Well, what's happened tonight is exactly what the party polling warned them about. And indeed the public polling has been warning them as well. So I'll have more to say on Sky News programs this coming week. I'll probably be more pointed, and we can talk about the things that really they need to do to fix this up. Because there's no one currently in this team who seems to be capable of winning an election.
So who should they have gone with, though, if it wasn't Deb Frecklington as leader?
Well, that's not a matter for me, and I do have a viewpoint. Maybe I will talk about it subsequently, Kieran, but I'll say this. They were presented with the facts. The facts didn't lie. It's been borne out tonight, and they are the ones who need to take responsibility. This is not the fault of the LNP's secretariat, Kieran. This is not the fault of the party and the volunteers who have worked their guts out. I'm glad that Deb Frecklington acknowledged their hard work. This sits at the door of the parliamentary team and the leadership team and the staff of the leader. That's where the buck stops. Now, I'll just say this. In 2015, I took responsibility for our election defeat. They must take responsibility now for what's happened, because this was an election where perhaps we weren't going to win, but I can tell you now we should have done a darn sight better than what we have done.
Campbell, what I found, apart from everything that was extraordinary about that speech, speaking at the same time as the Premier and so on, but for her to say, I will continue to lead the party, the leadership of the party is not of her choosing. That is for the party to determine. I just thought it was an extraordinary thing to say.
It was indeed, Alan, and 2015, I suppose, I'd lost my seat. But I can assure you, I can promise you this, that if we'd lost in 2015, I'd retain my seat. I would have been expressing my resignation that evening as well, because that's what a leader must do. That's what a political leader needs to do in these circumstances, particularly after a result like this. So I don't think that the current leadership team should be continuing. They need to take responsibility, and again, the parliamentarians need to wake up and understand that this has been coming for 3 years. The polling has always had their primary vote at the level, the press level, 36%. And one bit of context, when we lost in 2015, and we all know, we're always told that that was a terrible disaster. Well, the primary vote then was 41.3%. 41.3%. And the LNP has been consistently in the mid-30s ever since. It's just not good enough, and they need to work out why that's happening.
Campbell, we've been talking a little bit earlier tonight about the amalgamation of the Liberal and National Party. Do you think that another election defeat means that that has got to be reconsidered, and whether there's benefit in splitting the parties?
Look, I actually don't think that's the case. I think that the LNP has shown that it can work, and it can be made to work again. But it's about ensuring that we're fair dinkum out in the bush, and we have policies still that will resonate with the city voters as well. And I firmly believe that is possible. I absolutely believe that's possible. And indeed, if the LNP stay the course as a united party, but go back to their grassroots and build a platform and campaign energetically over the next 4 years, they can be a force. They could win in 2024. It doesn't seem like that tonight, but it is possible to win, but they have to work out where they're going wrong.
Campbell, just on that, the disturbing thing tonight is that Labor came into this election count tonight with 11 seats with a margin of 4% or less. Now, all of those 11 seats have gone far beyond that. How on earth are they now going to win those seats at the next election when the margin they've got to recover is infinitely greater than existed tonight?
Well, very good point that you make, Alan. I can only point to some of the things that the panel's been saying this evening, indeed other commentators and other channels tonight, and that's the thing that when Queensland swings, it swings hard, and it swings very strongly. So that's the sort of thing. But you have to paint that picture. You have to deal with the government of the day and point out their failings. You've got to articulate a strong vision for the future, and it starts immediately. You can't try and do this in the last few weeks. I mean, Deb Frecklington, I thought, performed quite strongly as the campaign evolved. I thought she did better and better than we'd ever seen her before. But it's too late. The die was cast a long time ago, and they've got to start with energy and purpose, and they've got to build that relationship, by the way, with the grassroots. Exactly, Alan.
Campbell Newman, thank you, and we look forward to your contributions on Sky News throughout the week.